Welcome back, everyone. This week, we're going to be reading works by two different authors who were and are also physicians. The first is William Carlos Williams. We're going to be reading a short fictional story that he wrote called The Girl with the Pimply Face. And then we're going to be reading an essay by Atul Gawande called Letting Go. This video is meant to give you some background information on William Carlos Williams. So, William Carlos Williams was born in 1883. He died in 1963, and he had a joint career. He was a profoundly accomplished author of American literature in the first half of the 20th century, if not one of the most accomplished authors of American literature in that period. And he wrote in all genres. All total, he produced 23 volumes of poetry, five collections of short fiction, six novels, seven books of nonfiction, five plays, and four translations. That's a lot. In addition to being an author, though, he was also a practicing physician. He graduated from the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine in 1906, and then he practiced for his entire career in Rutherford, New Jersey, which is a working class, ethnically mixed neighborhood where he had been born. It's been said that over the course of his career, he delivered over 3,000 babies into that city. So, as that suggests, he definitely had a thriving practice. Now, Williams felt that his writing and his medical practices were completely complementary. In fact, he actually said at one point, and I quote, "As a writer, I have been a physician, and as a physician, a writer," end quote. And both careers, he felt, demanded a level of clarity and observation. And if you read The Girl with the Pimply Face, there definitely is a sense of keen observational skills on the part of the narrator, and also a kind of attempt at being honest, I would say, as a narrator in terms of the story that's being offered to the reader. So, Williams' stories in general are characterized by a strong sense of realism and immediacy. The stories are probable and they're believable. And as a reader, you actually enter into the world of the story imaginatively. That is, you get to understand the characters' psychologies, their histories, and their environments. And in the case of the girl with the pimply face, you are also given a glimpse into, the psychology and history of the narrator himself, who is supposed to be a physician. Now, there's actually not all that much action in the girl with the pimply face. The story is seemingly a little bit disjointed. It details this one doctor's experience treating a family in a poor part of the town where he works. Now, he gets called out because the family has a sick baby. When he arrives at the parents' home, the parents are out, and the baby is being cared for by a 15-year-old girl, by her sister. Now, he's immediately taken with this girl, and he winds up treating her for acne. He returns later to the home after the parents are home, and he learns from them a little bit more about the baby, who is sickly and frail. When he begins to examine the baby, he realizes that the baby has a congenital heart defect. Later, when he's back at the hospital, he is talking with a colleague, and that colleague basically tells him that he thinks that the family is dishonest, that they're a bunch of crooks and cheats. But the physician narrator goes back to the family to do some follow up care on the baby, and he finds that the baby has improved somewhat, and that really is sort of the entire story in terms of plot summary. Now, this story was first published in 1938, and despite the lack of action, there's just sort of a ton to unpack in this story and a lot of things to think about. Here are kind of a few things that I thought of. One is I'm interested to know what you think is the role of socioeconomic status in this family's encounter with the medical industry. In other words, how does the family's class inform the way that they get treated by both the physician narrator, by the hospital where they take their baby, and then also by the narrator's colleague, who is also a physician. Um, And the second thing to think about is the question of how we're supposed to read the physician narrator. Because the story is sort of interesting that on the one hand, the story is ostensibly, um, you know, the narrator observing the family that he's treating. But even as he observes that family to us, we are actually observing him observing the family. And we are allowed to make judgments on the kind of character that the narrator is. In particular, I'm interested to know sort of what you think of or how you think we should read the narrator's attitude towards the family, in particular the 15-year-old daughter. All right, I look forward to discussing this work with you on the discussion board. Please let me know if you have any questions.